Hello and welcome to another SkaredCast Apocalypse report. Today I'm playing Fred, and he's brought his Decurion Necrons, 3,000 points of apocalyptic doom, facing off against 3,000 points on this war-torn battlefield. Let's begin this bloodbath, this destructive orgy. Stay tuned. Alright, so this is the table. We're playing a Maelstrom of War mission, Tactical Escalation, in Apocalypse, which will be interesting. We're doing that to force us to move around the table and to take objectives and capture them as the game continues. So we each kind of set up as Apocalypse. So I put this objective in his deployment zone and that in my deployment zone, and then the one in the cathedral in the middle. He put one behind here in the road, and then in the middle here. So there's 6 total objectives on the table. A little bit of line of sight blocking, cover, open ground. So we're really looking forward to this. This is also being streamed live for all the patrons of the channel. So make sure you check the links down below and go over to the blog and Patreon page if you'd like to support the content. My content is free, and I appreciate it if you guys would like to help me out. And a thank you to Frontline Gaming for the beautiful fat mat. This is very high quality. I love it. That's why we're showcasing it on the channel. So now we're going to move into deployment, and we're going to get a roll in. We have to bid for deployment time and see who deploys first, and then we shall get a roll in. Now, because it's going to be sort of a regular game, there's things in Apocalypse called scheduled breaks. So we've determined that after every 2 full game turns, we will have a scheduled break. So things that activate during scheduled breaks, will activate them. We're also looking forward to using our Warlord Finest Hours. Oh, and I did roll for Labyrinthine Cunning again, Mr. Dozer. I rolled a 1 and then I re-rolled. I rolled a 2. Good thing it's Apocalypse, so you don't really roll for reserves. You just bring them on kind of as you wish. And it is a smaller table, but let's get down to the nitty-gritty. I'm excited. Okay, going through the 3,000 points of Dark Eldar. So we have an Apocalypse formation, which is the Storm Surge formation. So I have an Archon in a Venom, 3 units of Cavalite Warriors in Raiders with enhanced sails and lances. Their special rule means that they can shoot, and then the tanks can turbo boost as if they hadn't shot, which is awesome. Keeps them really mobile. Archon, Armor of Misery, Huskblade, Shadowfield. I kind of went all out on him. Didn't really need to, but just wanted to have something fun. He's going to be running with a Farseer with Telepathy for Shriek, and the Heamonculus for the -1 leadership to everybody within 12. So that'll be -3 leadership, which would be good. Then I have a Titan Hunter formation. So I have 1 triple Disintegrator Ravager and 2 Lance Ravagers. They get shrouded as long as they're within 6 inches of the command tank, which is that tank right there. Then I have a Sickle Squadron, 3 Razor Wings, 2 with Lances, 1 with Disintegrators and a Splinter Cannon, all with monocyte missiles. They get D3 Strength 8 AP3 hits on any unit that they move over in the movement phase, kind of like Reaver jet bikes, which is kind of cool. Then I take a good old Grotesquerie, because even in Apocalypse I believe they're just as good. So 2 bare bones units in Raiders. And then, of course, we have an Autarch with a Banshee Mask and a Shard of Anaris, a Farseer with a Spear, 5 Warp Spiders with an Exarch in there, 3 Numpty Eldar jet bikes, and a Lord of War, the Revenant Titan. Looking forward to playing with him. 4D blasts and a Skyfire shooty missiles. Fred is really curious to see how that works. Same here. So first time he's been on the channel. Looking forward to doing some work with him. Just put a little bit of paint on him so he didn't look just like primer, but he will get painted in the Mimera Craftworld colors, so looking forward to that. And now let's move on to the Necrons. Okay, so Necrons, we have a Reclamation Legion with an Overlord, some of these guys with Lich guys, I guess, 2 units of 10 warriors in Ghost Sarks, little units of Immortals with Tesla in a Night Scythe. We have a Destroyer Cult over there as well. We have a Canoptech Harvest with the Spider, some Scarabs, and the Wraiths, 2 Doom Scythes. And then these are part of the Reclamation Legion, 2 units of jet bikes with 3+ armor and ignore cover. And then we also have a Court of the Archon with Imhotep, the Lord of War, some sort of Cryptek, a couple of different things, another Cryptek, another Lord, and then the Overlord. He is the Warlord. He has to issue and accept challenges. And then we have a unit of Immortals as well. So it's pretty much, oh, and a Destroy Lord back here. We have a very nasty 3,000 point Decurion force. Their strategic card is Subvert Machine, which allows him to spend a point to take over one of my tanks or units, which is pretty cool. And mine is Precise Coordinates, so I will get to use Deep Strike with no scatter for 1 turn. Let's go on to the table and mission.
Hello and welcome to an Apocalypse mission. So deployment, we start with the Necrons. They in Apocalypse you have to bid how much you want to use in terms of minutes to deploy. And he bid 10 minutes. I bid 30 minutes because I wanted to go second. I know in Apocalypse, you know, having the jump on reserves is usually a good idea because you don't have to roll for them. So he deployed his Decurion, long line. I deployed a few things, Revenant TITAN, you know, a couple of the Grotesquerie, the Warp Spiders, nothing crazy. Then he took his first turn, advancing quite aggressively, bringing on his Doom Scythes to target my Revenant TITAN, and that began the game.
The Necron army has taken turn 1 with the turn 1 Doom Scythes coming in. Lots of shooting, lots of Tesla, lots of failed saves. 5 hull points have been taken off the Revenant Titan. The Veil of Darkness, Overlord, and his Staff of Light contingent have moved up, and they are in the field with a couple of Grotesques there. The Warp Spiders blinked after getting shot by them. And the one objective was capture objective 2 for the Necrons, which they did in the backfield over there. So we're moving on to Apocalyptic Dark Eldar turn 1, and we will see what happens. The High Command has sent us a mission to secure objective 6, which just happens to be in the backfield. Let's continue.
So we have Dark Eldar turn 1 advancing into the middle, using the Titan as the main lynch point in the advance.
Okay, Dark Eldar turn 1. Revenant Titan jumped up, blew up all the Wraiths with his Super D weapons. I Psychic Shrieked 2 models out of the unit of Lich Guard, and they are now falling back thanks to the negative modifiers to the ship. They just fell back because that's a flyer base, so they can move through it. And they fell back far enough that they were not trapped. I deep struck my entire army, pretty much used the no reroll, no scatter deep strike rules to get within objective 6, which was my objective. And they're in formation for tank hunting. The Razorwings are in formation for tank hunting. Forced both of these into jinking, but did no hull points, and I only killed 3 out of the 5 jet bikes with pretty much all the rest of my shooting. Disintegrators, poison, everything. On this flank I had gotten out with these guys to charge into the Lich Guard, but they fell back now, so I'm going to try a long charge. I don't think they'll even be able to make it. The Warp Spider is going to jump back in the assault phase, but other than that they killed a Scarab base, and I did nothing to this side of the table. Okay, we're moving on to Necron turn 2. What will happen?
having lots of pressure from the Dark Eldar reserves, the Necrons have to think quick while still dealing with the Titan that is at large.
So, turn 2 for the Necrons. The Doom Scythes went off. The Night Scythe stayed off the board. Lots of shooting into the Titan. He's down to 1 hull point remaining, but he's still alive. The Overlord and his Lich Guard rallied. This Destroy Lord killed that Raider. And then the Scarabs failed to charge against the Titan. The Shrouding helping these tanks stay alive. And then they got charged here. I also, Imhotep had a huge storm and only hit 2 units with his D6 strength 6 super hits, which was very, very lucky. He rolled a lot of 1s and 2s. And then that did lead to a Raider wrecking over here. And then over here we had the Wolf Spiders only blink Snake Eyes, so they got shot by those jet bikes. The Necrons have successfully taken secure Objective 4, but Objective 6 is contested, so they have 2 points. Now the Dark Eldar get 2 cards. Death by 1,000 cuts, and secure Objective 4, which is over here. That's going to be hard to do. Moving on to turn 2. Okay, end of turn 2, and the Titan has done some work. Open shot with the D weapon, blew up the Ghost Ark, killed a couple of destroyers, and then charged into the Immortals, and they decided to fall back for our weapons are useless, and risked getting run down. The Titan indeed ran them all down. These grotesques moved up, charged into this Destroy Lord, and he's got 1 wound left, and he put 2 wounds on one of the grotesques. I killed the Overlord with a Phantasm grenade launcher. He failed his Lookout Sir, his armor, and his reanimation protocol. And I did put Dominate on the unit, and my little minus leadership buff unit is there. Other shooting saw the 2 Blade Vein bikes die here, and 1 of these destroyers die down here, because I had to split up the Razorwing formation. Now the Necrons have spent a victory point to take control of my Ravager, so now in his turn 3, my Ravager will be under his control for the entire turn, which is pretty cool. These warriors are pinned, and in the backfield we have the Blade Vein bikes, and the other destroyers are completely fine together with that Ghost Ark. We still have both Doom Scythes to come on and the Night Scythe, and of course the Revenant Titan has 1 hull point left, so it's only a matter of time before he goes cataclysmic. So I did not secure Objective 4, which is back here with the Necrons, but I did do death by 1,000 cuts. I believe I got 6 different units that I did casualties from. So I had the Warp Spiders, the Spider, the unit of Lich Guard, the Destroyers, the Warriors, the Blade Vein bikes at the back, and the Ghost, the Ark as well. So I did quite a bit of work. Oh, and I also put a wound on these guys here. So I get D3 victory points for that card. For 3. And now we're moving on to Necron. Turn 3. And say goodbye to the big guy, because he's probably going to die this turn.
The Titan's still not dead. They have to focus on it to kill it and to try and bring down the Dark Eldar firepower maneuvering around the battlefield.
Necron turn 3. The flyers arrived. I intercepted with the Revenant, which I should have done in the first turn because I forgot that he had intercept. And I knocked the Tesla, forced that one into jinking. But the other Doom Scythe blew him sky high. He didn't supernova. Puny little explosion. Didn't even scatter, nothing. So that was the end of the Titan. Other shooting saw that Night Scythe put 2 hull points and blow a lance off that jinking Razorwing. My own Ravager forced this Razorwing into jinking, but it survived unscathed. And all the other shooting saw 1 more hull point on that Ravager, and 2 hull points on this Raider, and lost its gun. But other than that, this unit here failed their leadership test to charge thanks to Dominate and the debuffs with the Armor of Misery and the Heamonculus. And then this combat was a stalemate. So, of course, 3 points for killing the Titan, 1 point for each hull point, and also overwhelming firepower for killing unit, and also another point for killing a tank, which was my vehicle. Was it a tank or a vehicle?
What? Yeah.
Okay, so the Necrons are at 10 points. That point called Age of the Machine gives him 4 points for killing my Titan, plus the 3 for the hull points. That is a huge amount of points from that Titan dying. Of course, the Titan did some work, so good job getting all those points. And now the Dark Eldar still have secure objective 4, and then we have to pull out 2 objectives. Recon, which is going to be a free point, and demolitions, which we can't do. So secure objective 2, that just happens to be all the way in the backfield. Okay, on to the next turn.
Falling behind on objectives, the Dark Eldar are forced to play to the mission, putting as much pressure on the Necrons as possible while trying to gain as many points as possible this turn.
3, I got we charged into here, killed a few with Shriek, dominated that guy. We're in the middle of movement of Necron turn 4. Grotesque charged into here and killed 1, and with the Autarch, so they're just fighting it out there. And these Grotesques finally killed the Destroy Lord. I called a finest hour with my Archon, and he nominated that Night Scythe to be reroll misses, because that's what he rolled on strategic. He has 1 hull point left, and then I boosted these raiders up here. Jet bikes capture that objective back there. So right now, Dark Eldar are at 7 victory points. Necrons are at 10, thanks to their destruction, plus the 3 points for each hull point on the Super Heavy, and their Age of the Machine, which was a fantastic card to have while he killed my Super Heavy. Even though there's not much left on the table, this is probably going to be the last turn because of our time constraints with the apocalyptic battle. Let's move on. Let's see what happens during this Necron turn.
In the final Necron movement phase, moving around to try and do as much damage while denying points to the Eldar.
Necron turn 4. We had Recon for another point, and Big Game Hunter as he killed 2 of my Ravagers over here with the relentless, rapid-firing Decurion warriors charging in and ripping one up, while these dominated destroyers destroyed the other one without succumbing to domination. Nothing happened in this combat here. Nothing happened in this combat here except for 1 wound here. So that has been a toss-up. 1 wound was put on these Grotesques down here. So, and then a lot of shooting, so nothing happened to that raider. And the Warp Spiders blinked out of the way of a huge volley from that Ghost Ark. So we're moving on to Dark Eldar, turn 4. It's going to be the end of the game. I need 4 points to tie this game. So let's see if I can bring anything to bear at the end of this game with I have an 8-point score against a 12-point score with all things considered. Will I be able to do something to clutch a draw victory from defeat? Turn 4. A lot of things had to happen for me to get the points I needed to maybe draw this game. And the possibility is there, but we're going to roll it on camera. So first I needed to kill 1 destroyer. So I was able to kill him and 2 boost a raider up to capture objective 4, which gave me capture objective 4. I needed to try and kill that 1 guy to hold the line, but I was unable to kill the last guy because he did 2 wounds to me, and we tied combat, so that stayed. I lost my Warlord. That put a damper on something. He failed a Shadowfield save, got instant killed. So that was another point. So now I had to get 5 points to try and tie this game. And then the Warp Spiders jumped in, killed 1 model, 1 combat, thanks to the leadership debuff bubble from the grotesques, the warriors have fallen back and they ran them down, giving me blood and guts, killing a unit in close combat. So, right now I am losing. If I roll a 2 on a d3, I am losing. If I roll a 3 points, we have drawn this game, and this game has gone down to the very wire. And the reason is I have 3 units behind enemy lines. So, drum roll please, sir.
Oh, just sorry.
And I rolled a 1. So, with a 2-point victory, we have the Necrons squeezing out the victory on turn 4. Had we been able to play the rest of the game, who knows what could have happened as more and more cards were added to the tally and the Necrons were running out of stuff. But so were the Dark Eldar. Thanks a lot for tuning in. Stay tuned for the Tactical Corner. This was really fun. It was an Apocalypse game. 3,000 points aside.
Hello and welcome to another Tactical Corner. I hope you enjoyed this Apocalypse report, and as you can see here, this is us just setting up the table. You know, it took quite a while to really organize the game and set it up, and when you want to play Apocalypse you have to set a good 4 to 6 hours aside, even just to play 3,000 points, so it's definitely a huge time investment. Now the battlefield was a really fun little battlefield that we set up, a little bit of everything. And then we really jump into the armies. So what I wanted to do was to showcase what you can do with a relatively simple force, adding a few things here or there to make it Apocalypse. So with both the armies, it's stuff that you can use in a regular game that you've probably collected already, and then just adding something like the Revenant Titan in my case, and in Fred's case just bringing in a couple of formations. Now, the game itself, Decurion Necrons are really, really tough. Having the D weapons from the Revenant Titan allowed this to be a game, although the Revenant Titan itself ended up netting a grand 7 points to the Necron army thanks to the card that he drew that really helped him kill it as well. All in all, using the objectives and formations and the tactical cards and the heroes really made for an enjoyable experience. Tactically, I had to focus fire, of course, like in any game of 40k, but at the same time think ahead and think of the enemy reserves and think of the ability to move, and really just added a whole other layer of tactical depth to the game itself. Now, the game does lend itself to cinematics, you know, having a lot of fun, just blowing stuff sky high. And I really hope you enjoyed the format in which the battle report was released. All in all, you know, against Necrons, I'm finding that any leadership debuffs and any leadership shenanigans, especially with the freak show list, is very, very strong. Because they don't really have many ways to become fearless or to pass leadership tests. And they are so tough with the reanimation protocols of a 4+ in the Decurion, plus the rerolls for the Reclamation Legion if their warlord is within 12, that it is very hard to bring these units down, and they are extremely resilient. So being able to kill a few and then force morale tests and then have the leadership debuffs proves to be a very strong tactic and strategy against the Necrons. Ideally, I didn't run it fully, but ideally you run a Mask of Secrets from the Harlequin's book, Hemlock as well with D-cannons, and of course the another Psychic Shriek and its leadership debuff. And you just use that in combination. Now in Apocalypse, the flyers proved to be quite the asset, being able to take the skies. And all in all, the best formation, or my favorite formation, was the Storm Surge formation from the Valador Apocalypse book, which allows the Cabalite warriors in their raiders to turbo boost after they have fired and use their enhanced sails, which made them very mobile and allowed me to get that last victory point objective at the end of the game. Let me know what you thought. I really appreciate your feedback. Thanks a lot to everybody for tuning in. This is Skari, out.